Okay, so I've took the fuel tank off. What I've noticed is obviously a previous owner of the bike, the Petcock that's fitted to the fuel tank is a bottom entry. You can see that normal Harley for this bike would be coming off at an angle. So the Petcock was changed at some point in time. It came out at the bottom, and then the fuel line has got an inline fuel filter in. So I'm going to take that off, put new fuel line on, and restore it back to the original sort of specification, if you like, of how it should be. So the fuel line will come straight from the Petcock, straight off to the carburettor, and I've got a new filter to go in the tank with the Petcock, so that should take care of that. Obviously had some problems in the past, which is why I put an inline filter in. Now I'm replacing the fuel line to my new Petcock, and to do that I needed to get to the carburettor. So as you can see here, this is the original fuel line, and again it looks like it's never been off the carburettor. That's the crimp clamp that the Harley Davidson used, so I'm going to have to cut that off, replace that with a Jubilee clip. To get to that, I've took off just the air filter assembly and the housing. I've not videoed that. That's fairly straightforward to do if you want to replace your fuel line. So I'm going to go and replace the fuel line with a new one. So there's the new fuel line connected, Jubilee clip going through the frame, plenty of pipe the other side now, so that I can make the final connection to the Petcock. So that's all the air filter assembly back on, carburettor secure, new vacuum switch. So now we'll get on to put the Petcock in the fuel tank. So this is my tank with the old existing Petcock. This is my new one, again Harley Davidson, genuine part. Comes with filters, select the right filter, new O-ring, and the actual new Petcock. So we'll get on and fit that. So it takes an inch spanner, turn the nut anti-clockwise and just unscrew the old Petcock. That's pretty gunked up. So we can see there's actually fuel being held in there, so it's still, even though the tap's on, the vacuum diaphragm is still working. It's not allowing the fuel to pass through, so we're just going to put that to one side. Just going to have a look just inside the tank. Luckily enough, doesn't feel too bad inside the tank. I think it was just a build up over the years around the screen. So I'll just get a rag and dry that off. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Here's the new Petcock. What we have to do on my bike, the 97 Heritage Softail, you get 2 screens for this pack. And an O-ring. You see the screen that came off. This was a longer one. This is the short one, which is recommended to be fitted on my bike. Shorter screen. So fit the gasket first. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to put some PTFE tape on the thread. Like so. We put the collar on. It's a right hand thread as it goes onto the tank. Two turns, we insert valve assembly, we do 2 turns anti-clockwise with the valve body till we got about equal amount of thread either side, and then as we tighten the bolt, it's tightening both sides equally. Square up the valve. Okay, so there we have our new Petcock installed. And again, what I've heard and done research on, you can feel with this is a genuine Harley Davidson part. Moving it, you can feel a nice click and a mechanism inside going from off to on to reserve. So I think it's worth getting the genuine Harley parts. You've got an expensive bike. I've seen loads of reviews where people have fitted cheap aftermarket and they've only lasted a few months and then they're changing them. So there we go. So now we're going to put the tank back on the bike. Right, well, I'm ready to fit the tank now and put everything back. Before I do that, I've bought new spark plugs as part of the service, and I'm going to change them now because access without the tank is just very easy. So I might as well do that before I put the tank on. What I've got, again, sourced the proper spec plugs for the Harley, and I've gone for the iridium, very hard wearing. so we're going to change them again. Again, not cheap spark plugs, but I've got an expensive bike, so it makes sense to put good plugs in. Again, just so you can see, quite blackened there. Just comparing to the iridium one that's going in, you can see a much finer electrode on it. It's always important to get the correctly spec'd spark plugs, the heat range and everything. It's something sometimes gets overlooked. It makes a big difference. That's it. The spark plugs in. Right, let's start with tank assembly. So I'm just going to take these bolts out that I put back. These are both the same length, so they can go in either position. And take that bolt from there, and that bolt from the bottom and top. Move the wiring harness clear of what I'm doing. Everything else looks to have slotted back wiring wise to how it was. So we'll just secure this bolt first. Got rubber bushings, so you just got to guide it in. Make sure the rubber bushings are in the correct place before you go and tighten her up. Nope. Right. Socket. Nice and secure against the rubber. Okay, one tank on. Pass. Filter through there. Located there. Located there. Again, nice and tight onto the rubber. Bottom bolt. Nice and tight onto the rubber. Remember to connect the pipe that connects the vent across the two tanks. That's pushed back in. Wiring looms are nice and free, nothing been trapped. They all look alright. I noticed when I took the tank off that the vent tube had actually broken, and it looked like it had previously been repaired with a bit of larger hose off this vent here, and then there's a rigid piece of pipe that's fixed in there. So I've managed to secure some more pipe, and I'm going to replace the bit of pipe between here, the rigid piece, and allow me to connect back here again to complete the vent line. So I'm just going to do that now. Okay, so I've redone the vent line nicely there now. Now I'm just going to go around and secure, reconnect the fuel line that connects the two tanks together. If you remember, it got the old crimp connector on, so I'm putting the fuel line on now with a new Jubilee clip. Okay, that's that secured. So I'm just going to give my tank a little bit of a clean before I put all the instrument panel back, and we'll connect the Petcock next. Here's the tank now bolted in place. Here's the new Petcock. This is the new fuel line I've done from the carburettor to drop onto there. I've got the vac line to put on the back of the Petcock, which should just nicely reach its right position. So we'll connect all that up next. Okay, so there's the new Petcock. That's the new fuel line off to the carburettor. You can see the vacuum line is just connected. Try and show you at the back there, look. Just there, connected to the Petcock diaphragm. Right, last thing to do is put the instrument panel back on. So just do things in reverse order. Got the different wiring looms. There's a location pin just under here to help you get the instrument panel back in place. Underneath before you tighten that down. Torque's 25. Should locate that. Final tighten up. All that remains now is to connect the battery. All remains now is to put fuel in and fire her up. Well, there she is running. Pretty much fired first turn of the key, which is pretty good because the fuel had to be all primed up. But she appears to be running fine. Sounding pretty good. Next thing is to just check the oil levels, which I've got to run in a little bit, take her out for a test drive, and then check transmission fluid as well. But all seems good.